for at least a little while. Lots of stuff going down on the Heard defamation trial. They got to the part where apparently Amber pooped the bed after Johnny's mother died and tried to set him up as an abuser or something like that with her friend's help. Very nice lady. I think I'd like to have her over for dinner. Said no one ever. But I want to talk about the big news today is Florida basically stripped Disney of its special recognition, the Reedy Creek Improvement Act, okay, which is the 1967 law. I've talked about this before. Basically giving Disney an area that straddles Osceola County in Orange County, Florida, to basically administer, collect fees, cops, etc. Oh, I agree. Some other guy, big time. Basically, they had their own government there, which included police, fire department, sewage, etc., electricity, healthcare, you name it. The counties, now, I don't know if it passed the House. Okay, here's what's going down in Florida. The Florida Senate rejected the Democrat something Gaines or something like that in a congressional redistricting map. I want to explain something. If you're not an American citizen and you don't understand what a representative republic is, a lot of Americans will scream that we're a democracy and we're not. We're a representative republic. That means is the founding fathers set it up so the individual's rights were paramount. Okay, not basically a mob, which is what Canada has running Canada. Big population centers dictating to places like Alberta, British Columbia, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba what they can and can't do, which the lifestyles are different and the people are different. We did not want that here in the United States when the country was formed. So we came up with a representative republic and a Bill of Rights that protects the individual. The Constitution is basically a rule, a set of things. First off, it sets up the government, the federal government. Second of all, it sets it up so the government is basically not allowed to do things. Okay, legal search and seizure, can't do that. Can't board people, can't board troops in people's houses. Can't take away guns, can't stifle free speech, even though now we've got a bunch of people, even in our own government, that want to stifle free speech, etc., etc. That's what the Bill of Rights is. And every state has a constitution. Every state, with the exception of Nebraska, has what is called a bicameral legislature. That is what the federal legislature is. It is very interesting to me that a lot of people don't understand. When you look at the federal legislature, which is the House and the Senate, the House, each congressional delegation is defined by a state's population, which is why, you'll see California and New York lose congressional seats. Okay, you'll see Florida and Texas and other states that are better run states gain seats. It's all determined. The representatives are determined by how many people actually live in these states. The Senate, you get 2 senators. Even a state with only 1 representative, Wyoming, has 2 senators. They represent the state, the state itself. And there are only right now 100. Now let's say we can dream, can't we? California wakes up and decides to divide itself into 6 different states. That would be 12 more senators and congressional delegations would have to be divided from the 49 House members. They'd have to, that would shrink considerably. I can't remember how many congressional seats Florida has, but then there's apportionment. There's assigning districts, and the party at the party in charge basically kind of sets up the congressional districts. So, you can have, I mean, our district right here, the 10th in Pennsylvania, is insane when you look at it. It doesn't make any sense at all. But we've got a lot of, well, not a lot, several, what we like to call Republicans in name only. People who hate Trump, people who hide behind their conservative banner but aren't. You know, Bushies and Romneyites and Ryanites and scumbags running our House and Senate here in Pennsylvania. And they kind of screwed over some of the sitting congressmen. But that's politics. That's one of the reasons why I left. Besides wanting to get married and becoming a grown up, I have to say, women who stay in careers to the detriment of marriage and a private life are always and will ever forever will be juvenile delinquents. Okay. Hey, Deborah. So, I am watching this, and they've basically ruled something against the Democrats in Florida. But again, Florida is a supermajority for the Republican Party. Okay. Now they took away the Reedy Creek Improvement Act, at least in the Senate, from Florida. And what that means is that Disney's going to lose a lot of money. A lot. Because they were able to tax and collect fees, hey Jonathan, from people living in that area. Because Disney provided, again, law enforcement, healthcare, sewage, basically all of the basic necessities that these communities that lived within the Improvement Act's location, they basically provided that. But when you think about it, 1967, I think Walt was still alive, and Roy Disney was still there, and basically it just seemed like, hey, Matt Piranha, and hey, everybody in the chat, if you're a newbie, hit the like button and share this out. Basically, it was a good business decision for Florida because it brought tourists in, it brought money in, it brought, Florida. Look, I'm gonna tell you something about Florida. A lot of people have romantic ideas about Florida. I have 2 gay friends who bought a house in Key West. Nice. But I don't know. I have to look more into this, Deborah. But let me go on here, and I'll talk more about this. Florida's hot. It's buggy. Snakes and alligators and wood ticks and nasty. And it's a sandbar. We had our water checked when we had that house in Valrico. We bought a house there when Rudy, when Army War College for Rudy was finished, he was assigned to SOCOM, which is a unified command, different branches of the military. Navy SEALs worked for him, Army Rangers, Green Berets, Marines who were special operators, and he was a fires branch manager for SOCOM, Special Operations Command. Lots of Navy SEALs, lots of them, lots of Delta Force guys. And we bought a house in Valrico, thinking it was it was right before the housing bubble crashed. I mean, we got screwed. We took it up the butt big time. But we got a house with a pool. a nice bird cage over the pool. One of the things about Florida is they call these like netted, they're like, it's like when you walk out and you see a patio and it's got a covering and it's got like not netting but like wire mesh. You know, it's like a garden house. They call these bird cages and they put them over pools to keep things like bugs and alligators and branches and leaves and garbage and, pardon my French, shit out of the pool. Okay. It ain't nice in Florida unless you can keep it nice. Okay. You know, we got the house, we had to change the roof because it was rotting. It was a brand new house. But mold in Florida is like ice cream at Ben and Jerry's. It just is. I mean, that's what you get. We had to replace the fasciang on the sides because that was rotting. Oh, I've seen that. I think I have that actually. I was at David Zucker filmed that. Yeah, I've seen that. Anyway, so you've really got to like humidity. All right, and let me, and of course we had the water tested. Water table's not deep. The water was full of chemicals and dirt, filthy. So we had to put a water, we had to put a purifier in, which cost money, but there's no damn way I was letting the dog drink that shit. I'm not kidding. It's just, you know, unless you're Donald Trump, you know, Florida is, there's like, you can have nice autumn evenings there, nice autumn nights, fire pit out in the front, hanging out with friends. Same thing with spring, but the moment summer hits, you might as well just go, I'm gonna melt. I'm gonna die. This sucks. It's just not, it, I don't know. I mean, I just, I don't get the romance. It's not romantic. Once you get there, you're like, because that was me. I was all gung ho. Oh, we get to move to Florida. You know, and to be honest, California's weather's nicer. It's a nicer place to live for that. But the government is shit. Again, I remember sitting there looking at my husband one day and we were talking about where we were going to retire. And I said, it's really, you know, we were still in California. And I go, it's too bad we can't retire here. And he goes, why would you want to anyway? And I go, the weather's nicer. You literally, you can go skiing in an afternoon and then surfing in the evening. Okay. Because the mountains really aren't that far away. But it attracted every kind of filthy fucking animal that is part of the human race you could ever, you know, the, the, the hippies, okay, which are good and not good. The left-wing lunatics who allow people, you know, migrants to come in and vote illegally so they can have their left-wing dictatorship. And that's what's going on there. I mean, Gavin Newsom can stand there under a highway overpass, look at all the garbage and the filth that is dumped there, and apologize to the state. Turn around and continue to do the fucking shit that he's been doing that caused that. He doesn't care. I mean, you know, it's California, unless it is broken up into 6 states, is going to die. You know, oh, I went through a hurricane there. It didn't hit Tampa. Very rarely do hurricanes ever hit that side for some reason. But it went up the other side and we could see it. It went up the Atlantic side and we could see it. I mean, you could see the dark clouds and pretty ominous, I'm telling you, man. But again, the state's way longer than it is wide. And the first day of our trip when we drove to California to go to Camp Pendleton, it took us the day to drive from Tampa to Pensacola. And let me tell you something. Don't ever use any of the roadside bathrooms. Yeah, in the Florida Panhandle, the Redneck Riviera, because I tried. I was so horrified and disgusted by what I saw. I came out to the car and said, I will just cross my legs till we get to the hotel. Because we were like an hour out. Most uncomfortable damn ride I've ever had in my life. But I was literally like, I can't do it. I can't, you know, I don't want hepatitis. Sorry. Anyway, so what I think is going to happen is the communities, I don't know if the Florida House voted on this, but if the Senate passed it, the House will pass it. Okay? This is huge. Okay, and I'll explain it to you in a minute. That those money and fees will go. Disney won't get those. They won't. There are a lot of people that everyone's like, "Hey Jim, how you doing?" Everybody, there. Look, every year one of the sheriff's office. Okay, thanks, Jacob. Went in and would do a sting and arrest a bunch of. Just Mike, it probably went into the Senate first. How they do it, I think this is a rule of thumb for everybody but Nebraska. Nebraska is a unicameral legislature. They only have one legislative house. How they do it is, the Senate will pick up a bill, pass it, and then send it to the House. And then the House will pass their version, and then, it'll go into committee, and they'll come back and they'll vote on it again, and then whatever comes out is the law, and DeSantis will sign it. Okay. But what's going to happen is Disney's going to lose a lot of money. A lot of money. Okay. And I'm going to say this. Being someone who understands politics, there's a big political will in Florida, and I think in the general public, to take care of this bullshit. It's grooming. I mean, I said this before, I'll say this again. If it smells like a duck, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, shits like a duck, swims like a duck, flies like a duck, it's a fucking duck. If it sounds like a groomer, looks like a groomer, talks like a groomer, it's a groomer. Okay, I'm sorry. That's just what it is. And, this is leverage, in my opinion, that Bob Chapek can take to the board and say, look, if we had stayed out of this, this would not be happening right now. This would not be happening. The board is going to have to decide, do they want to stay woke and get broke, or do they want to fire these incompetent activists and save Disney? Because I'm going to tell you something. Disney World is ground zero for that company, okay? And when I see people, let's go through it. Let's go through. We've got Galaxy's Edge being a complete laughingstock. Doomcock did a great video representation with a friend of his that stayed at the hotel. And Star Wars bingo. It's just, they went about, they didn't think it through, they went about everything the wrong way. And it's like, what the? So that's a fiasco and a failure. Then we've got this woke shit going on with Pixar. But there is something going on. I did touch on this on yesterday's video. Lucasfilms and Skydance. Who runs Skydance? John Lasseter. Where did John Lasseter come from? California, I think, Deborah. Where did John Lasseter come from? Pixar. How did he get launched out of Pixar? Because he was set up in a Me Too allegation. Okay. And I'm going to believe this to this day. Kathleen Kennedy set him up because I believe he was being picked to take over Lucasfilm, and that Bob Iger did not want her to come back. All right. And that's the truth. They were trying to find somebody else. So we've got Pixar freaking out. Now, all right, who is this? Hi, Mexican Iron Man. Yes, it's the right channel. You've got, this is like a bad dream. But I'm going to tell you something. Bob Iger set this up, unknowingly, like the dumbass that he is. Okay? Do you think he cares about Disney? Of course not. Okay? This was set up by him because he wanted to virtue signal. So he put little droplets of human fecalism all over the company. All right? And Tom today on Midnight's Edge was right. A lot of these people are bitching and moaning because they don't want to move to Florida, which is where Disney's going to be headquartered. Okay? And I still think that should go through because it makes monetary sense. However, these people caused so much trouble. That video coming out, that Zoom call, was the final straw. Okay? And, I honestly, I don't know what they're going to do. I really don't know what they're going to do. But my opinion is Chapek is going to go to the board and say, he said his first remarks on the Parental Rights Act was no comment. And that was the right one to think. In fact, where did I see that? Oh, was it Cameron? On his Patreon. Mike, maybe you can help me on this. Where Deadline has dropped the Don't Say Gay bill, and now it's the Parental Rights Act. Okay, they're doing it again. They're basically going to abandon these SJW activists to the wind. You've got quite a few Ezra Millers running around. This is what I see at Disney. And I think the changes at Disney may come faster. Yep, it's exactly right, Jacob. This is exactly what I think Bob Chapek needed for leverage. And I think you're going to see a lot of movement. Okay. And again, let's go back to Skydance. So Skydance is going to develop a Star Wars game with Lucasfilm. This may be, and I agree with Cameron on this, the first signal that Disney may acquire Skydance and roll Pixar into it and then fire the individuals that were causing all the trouble. Okay. They can do that, or they can sell Pixar. All right. In fact, when I think of Disney, and I think of the properties that make sense, in my opinion, and they've got copyright issues coming up next. The Mickey Mouse copyright is coming up. They've got copyright issues with Marvel coming up too. And with Marvel being, is anybody watching Moon Knight? I tried to watch it today. I had no idea what was going on. I didn't care. I was bored. It's a very bad, I think, representation of Egyptian mythology. Basically, it's using Osiris and Isis and a couple other lesser gods as the main. And where's Ra? Where's Aten? Where's Amun? You know, you go on and on. Those were the major ones. And it's like, where are they? Osiris was the god of the dead. Pharaohs, when they were embalmed first, would would be dressed like him. Okay. One of these days I'll go through what all this means. The mythology of Osiris is his brother Set was jealous of him. And I think Hathor was married to Set, and Osiris did her or something like that. Set got upset and murdered him and scattered his pieces parts all over the universe. Isis was the chief wife, goddess Isis. She picked up all the pieces and put Osiris back together. Okay. He was basically kind of a symbolic mummy in some ways. Their son was the falcon-headed god. Horus. And you see the falcon-headed god. That he's actually the god of kingship. Okay. And when you look at like King Tut's throne, and you see the lapis lazuli, the blue lapis lazuli artwork and stuff, and you see, Horus handing the mace and crux to Tutankhamun, that is passing the kingship to the new pharaoh. Okay. Basically, the pharaoh was Horus on earth. He was a god, they thought. And I'm like watching this going, I'm expecting Indiana Jones just to walk in and go, amateurs, and then find what they need, do what they have to do, walk away and say, that's how you do it, and then leave. Okay. I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting. But I can't. I just, I think Oscar Isaac also said he'll never do another Marvel. And I really don't blame him. The guy's actually a good actor, even though every time I look at him, I get Poe Dameron PTSD. But, I just can't watch it. And I honestly wonder, I often wonder if Chapek could be looking at Marvel and say, we could sell this too. They really are in financial straits. With Netflix losing, 39%, 35% of its value in one day. Holy crap. The media is in a really bad place financially. We've got threats of a recession coming, and all the rest of that stuff. And this is stuff we can all. I agree with you, Deborah. This is all stuff we can. We'll survive, okay, because we have before. It's just, this is all just coming into one, like, perfect storm for Disney, etc. But we do, we do have some positive things. I do, if you haven't heard, I've been keeping track of The Acolyte, and they did add a health and safety officer to the list. Okay, no director yet. No director. And if they don't hire a director in a couple of weeks, Either they push that show off into the ether or it's not happening. Okay? Because it's supposed to start filming next month. And for my sneaky peeks in London, Andor season 2 is filming. Okay? Good. Good news. And with Favreau and Filoni, you know, they've got, let's see, Dave, for The Acolyte, they've got Hedlund as producer, no other producers are mentioned. They've got a casting director. They've got a production coordinator from Indy 5, an art director from TLJ, and health and safety officer came out of Disney. I mean, literally works for Disney. And then that actress, nothing else. What else? Andor is being filmed right now. They're hot and heavy. I think Ahsoka's getting ready to film, if it's not filming right now. So we've got some good stuff coming. I am going to say this. I don't think Kathy Kennedy's going to show up to Celebration. I'm probably wrong, but here's why I don't think she's going to. The panels that they've got, the first day is going to be Mandoverse, none of which belong to her. Okay, now she could show up for that, but Friday is the Favloni panel. Nothing there tells me that there's anything about her that's going to be there, okay? And I haven't yet seen if there's a panel for the High Republic. From all I've been digging, from all I could see is that the authors have a booth. That's it. Okay, so if you go, please tell Claudia Gray from me that she needs to lose about 50 pounds. Okay, and tell Justina Ireland she shouldn't be such a racist. Kevin Scott and who's the other douchebag? The two gay guys that write for it, that they're losers, and that Daniel Jose Older is also a racist. And I'll be happy. My message to them, go away. Now, ask Claudia Gray how Geode is doing. All right, I still have to get a picture of that rock. If I leave church and I'm going down the street towards Wegmans to stop off to get dinner, there's a lawn, like you're going down the street and there's like a long patch of grass by like an apartment building or an office complex. And they have these decorative boulders. And the drawing of Geode, I swear to God, they took it from this rock. Now, if it's standing in a different position, I'll know it's Geode. I'll know it, okay? I mean, I want to get a picture of it and just say, I'm still waiting for Geode to move. Just to give her some shit. So stupid. So we just gotta wait and see for that. But Disney is in a hell of a bind right now, okay? It's in a hell of a bind, all right? And I think now we could wake up and see Chapek made an announcement about the Wokistanians. I mean, look, here's the deal. If Chapek says we are canceling all this, the gay kiss on the Lightyear is not going to happen, la la la, and then you see a bunch of these people from the videos, haha, Jacob, suddenly gone, and I'll tell you how they'll do it. You won't hear them being fired. They'll just disappear. Oh yeah, I know, Paul. Actually, if you look at Lin-Wen Brennan and you have both of them with Kathy, it looks like she tripled. It looks literally like there's three of them. Because you got the twins and then you got Brennan and she looks just like those two. Anyway, and also, who is the blonde that Frank Marshall always seems to appear with when he's in New York going over his latest Broadway show that he's producing? There's something weird going on here, okay, guys? I don't know what it is, but back me up here. But we just got to see where all this goes. I'm there's look, it's Wednesday, Friday, tomorrow's Thursday. Just wait and watch, okay? Because there could be fireworks coming from Disney. I don't know what her sister's name is. Is it Maureen? God, I hope he's got a side piece, the poor guy. I mean, is it Maureen or I don't know. And oh, by the way, in case you didn't know it, Kathy did, I think, have breast cancer, and she's fine, I think. This was something that was out there. I want to talk about it. But I'm going to say this. Every picture you see of her, she doesn't look like she lost her hair. And if you have breast cancer, I don't care if it's a speck, they will do it. And if you ask for a lumpectomy, you can get a mastectomy, which I would do that, or you can get a lumpectomy, which just takes out the lump. Either way, you get to go through chemo and radiation, okay, or maybe a combination or one or the other, okay. You don't get to get away from that, and you don't get to choose. You don't get it, okay. If you want to go through the treatment and make sure you don't get it again, you have to, okay. My advice for anybody who has breast cancer in their family, check for the gene because it's inherited. And if it comes back over 50, I don't care, 25%, get rid of these things. I think insurance pays for new ones, okay? It's preventative care, and it's a hell of a lot less expensive emotionally and financially than, oh, I've got breast cancer. Okay, so now I've got to get an operation to get rid of it, and then go through months of chemo and radiation. Think about it, okay? That's what Angelina Jolie did, and she was right. Okay, she was right about that. But I don't know if I buy that at all because it doesn't run in our family, but there are ways you can get it that isn't inherited. Like I tell people, if you're going through menopause, don't eat food with a lot of natural estrogen because that is what causes breast cancer. My sister Rose got it, and she was eating handfuls of soybeans because the natural estrogen would actually help her with her hot flashes. There are other ways to deal with those. You don't need to do that. She got breast cancer, got a lumpectomy, and it came back, which is why I say get rid of both. I don't care if it's a speck. Get rid of both of them because it will come back, even if you do go through the first treatment. Okay, that is just my advice, and the reason why is because I saw what the treatment does to a person, and it can cause problems with your heart. Okay. Anyway, talk a little bit more about that. What else is going on? In the Depp trial. So, testimony's been going really fast, right? And Johnny seems a little bit more comfortable up there. Everybody knows I've never been the biggest fan of his, but I'm starting to like him a lot as a person. I grew up in an abusive family. My mom was just like his mom. In fact, they probably traded notes. She beat up my dad. She abused us verbally, emotionally, physically. She used to punch my dad. Last time I saw her do that, I was in college, and I stopped it. I stopped it. I'm not going to tell you what I said to her, but I meant every word. Okay, I meant every word. But like, and then when he marries Amber, Johnny, he just married his mother. Like when Amber, uh, like his mother, said, "Hey, Cross Element," said, "Oh, I'm gonna kill myself." My mom did that. My mom did that. When I was a kid, I got to the point I was like, "Okay, bye." What are you gonna do? I don't know why it didn't. It bothered me. It pissed me off. You lay there in bed at night hearing you're screaming at dad for no reason. But something in me kind of put it in a place where, you know, but she really abused my older sisters and my brothers, but my sisters definitely. I mean, she held a pair of scissors to my sister Rose's throat. Okay. So, you know, when I'm watching Johnny testify about his mother, I started crying for him because I know how he felt. Okay. You do try to go to a different place. Like my mom worked. Okay. She was a clerk at a shoe store, and she my mom would put on these airs, and people liked her, and all the rest of the stuff. But there were people out there that you knew that they knew what she was really all about. She would have a day off on Tuesdays, and basically, once I was old enough to be outside in the summertime, we were gone. I go swimming at the pool. I go down to the river. We go do anything we could to stay away until there was more than just me home, like Joni and my sister Joan and my brother Jim, or whatever. Okay, if she had like Sundays, yeah. And I mean, you go to a place where you can escape. So I understand where Johnny was coming from, and Amber threatening to kill herself. I get that. I know who she is. Okay, I know who she is. But I'll tell you something. She's a lot worse than my mom, because my mom would never do the shit she did to him that he testified to today, trying to set him up as being abusive to her. Okay. He's 20 feet away. That Rocky Pennington runs in screaming, stop hitting her, stop hitting her. And Amber's, stop doing that to me. She's on the phone with IO, this whoever. The bodyguards walk in. Former cops. What do they see? They see two actresses and one on the phone, and Johnny's standing 20 feet away in the kitchen. Was he using the force to beat her up? I mean, he basically proved that she's a fraud, and the whole the bed pooping and all that. I think that happened the day after his mother died, or the day after his mother's funeral. This was literally, I think, the worst day, pray to God, for Heard. She had that look on her face that was just, she was shooting daggers and blinking, and it was really, it was eye-opening for me just looking at her while he was talking. She fake crying. This is stuff I don't think anybody's known about from Johnny Depp's mouth. Okay, he got to tell his story, and that's the most important thing. And I've got to say this. If she wins, she loses. Okay, she loses. She's going to lose her Aquaman gig. I can't see David Zaslav wanting to keep her around. She's going to lose any sort of chance in Hollywood because trust me, as bad as Hollywood is, they love rehabilitation stories. Okay? They love the redemption story. Johnny Depp is a walking money bag for them. Paul, I don't know. I would say, if she can't, look, if she wins, or if the jury basically finds no fault and doesn't award Depp anything, she loses. This is stuff Hollywood doesn't need. And Johnny testified. There are a lot of other people that need to testify. I think James Franco is going to testify. Elon Musk. I think Brian Lord still has to. Walter Amada just did. And saying, I didn't want her for Aquaman. And I think there's another Warner's exec. She's poison. She's poison. And I don't know if her career's over, but I think it's on the way to being questionable. And I think Johnny, who's got to get healthy, I think that he will at least be rehabilitated and saved in everybody's eyes. I mean, the guy's a good guy. All right, I mean, when he said, I smoke mostly pot, I'm like, he's a stoner. They don't do anything to anybody. I mean, and my favorite when he's talking about ecstasy, if he'd taken ecstasy, he would be, bye, Deborah. He'd be stealing somebody else's high. Look, and I gotta say this, excuse me, guys. Oh, my nose, my poor nose. Hollywood is full of drugs, okay? Hollywood is full of really weird, bad behavior. It's just what it is. And when I hear them talk about ecstasy, coke, Adderall, and, whatever, it doesn't bother me, okay? When he talks about pot, it doesn't bother me, okay? That really doesn't bother me. It is what it is, okay? And I have a lot of friends in the business, and, that is what it is, okay? And it always has been that way. The movie star from the old days, Tallulah Bankhead, was a coke fiend, okay? It just is what it is, okay? So it doesn't bother me. What bothers me is the abuse. And men, I've seen it. I saw my dad being abused by my mom. Men are abused terribly by some women, okay? I've got personal stories about other people, men that I know. There are women out there that are just, and when you look at FBI statistics, domestic abuse, it's usually the woman. All right. In fact, I think they quit taking, I think they quit doing statistics on that, in fact. Because, anyway, but about the Florida Senate, we'll have to see. But I think that Disney's going to answer for that by readjusting. And, we fired these people. I'm not kidding. Anyway, and I do believe that Chapek and DeSantis have talked about this. Okay? And again, this shit wouldn't have happened if Bob Iger had not allowed these people to work at Disney. All right, so this is Steph. I gotta go. What time is it? My husband should be home. He had to go to a funeral down in Stafford, Virginia. One of the Knights of Columbus, pretty young guy too, died in kind of a sad way. It was hit his head. It was just whatever, and so he had to go to the funeral. I didn't know the family, so I stayed up here and took care of the mutt and the horse. Anyway, all right, so I'll see you guys later. Be good, be safe, and if anything else happens, I'll be back. See you guys around the galaxy.